Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast, which is brought to you by Omaha Steaks, which Dad would probably love. I know I would, and I'm a dad, and I love steak. And so omahasteaks.com has something special for Father's Day. And when you get to the end of the podcast, we have a code for you to use to save money on your purchase for Dad or whoever you want to buy the steaks for, really. So, it is summer. It's a vacation season. We were talking about that during the show this morning. And I wanted to share something with anybody who is struggling with the fact that, maybe you're down on yourself because you don't have enough money to take the entire family on vacation this year. Or, maybe you just are not able to break away for work or for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. There actually are ways to, approach it. And they're kind of like the day trip thought, but I'm going a little bit deeper than that, is that if you're going to do something that's more of a staycation, change your environment.
Oh, yes.
Because that will make a little bit of a difference. If you just stay at home as your staycation, it's not going to feel like a vacation.
No.
No matter how much you love your home, it's the same four walls that you're in every single day. It's where you go to work, you come home, and that there's just something about that just is not vacation. If you actually go see something you've never done before, sometimes it's just get out of the house.
Get out of town
for
a little bit.
I almost think of those as mini vacations, and I think about that. Jodi and I did this recently, and I think about when I was a kid and my parents would do something, very similar. It would just be the get out of the house. And to me, today's equivalent of that is get out of the house and get away from your screen because you really will get that peace of mind. Even if it's just for one day, you'll get that feeling of that break. Jodi and I did this, just recently. We decided to go to a restaurant that we hadn't been to ever. And really, I just wanted to go somewhere with a little waterway, and the restaurant overlooks, the water. Mm-hmm. And so we just got in the car, and we drove for about 40 miles, and we went and we had lunch, and it was fun to hang out. At least I think it was.
My favorite part of that is that we didn't decide to do it until like midday. And on the way there, we realized this place closed at 2.
Oh.
And I said, we're going to have to let them know. If we're going to roll in there at 1:20, 1:20, whatever, 1 o'clock. I don't know. I said, let's make sure they know. We understand you close at 2. So if this is not a good idea to seat us, we understand that. And you did tell them that. And they said what?
She said, as long as we know what we want to order pretty soon, that's okay with them.
We don't take forever to order.
I know, what's funny, and this is a different podcast altogether. This is not the direction I was going with this.
Yeah.
But, to me, if a restaurant's open till 2, most restaurants I've been to, they know they're open to 2, and they know that their people are going to be around a little bit longer, and you just you stop accepting, You stop accepting guests at closing time. That's just what you do,
right? You
right?
have to stop
I get not walking in 5 minutes before closing time, but a half hour, 45 minutes, they're still open.
I know it.
But
I just wanted to mention we realize you close soon.
Yeah.
We're not going to be a 3-hour situation. I wanted them to know.
Yeah. And we were, and you could tell they must have had a really busy lunch because
they were like,
they
can
were
you
tired.
order now?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Before we seat you, do you know what you want?
Right.
It's like, no, I've never been here.
Right. But it was fun to get away. It was just a part of a restaurant we've never been to before, a drive that we've never been on before together. Mm-hmm. It was just nice.
Yeah.
And I know that was for an afternoon, but really I felt refreshed when you and I got back home.
Yeah. It's like a reset.
Yeah.
Reset your normal surroundings, which resets your brain a little bit.
Yeah. And so I guess that's the reason that I bring that up is my parents were really good at that too, because there were some years where vacation I know was hard for them to save, for. There's only one year I can think of that we didn't go to the beach. But again, they did that one on the cheap. The condos are not as were not as expensive then. In fact, they weren't condos; they were motels.
Yeah,
back then as they are now. But they were really good about get in the car, we'll go do something. They didn't have the confines of smartphones or screens. They weren't worried about us using all that. Although the TV was on a lot of times in the house, but just to be able to get in the car, go and have a different change of scenery is really enough for mental health to me to give you a little bit of a break, even if you're in a position that you can't really take a full vacation for whatever the reason.
I think some of the best vacations end up being those years when families do that sort of thing. I would go spend summers a week, if I was lucky, the whole week with my cousins, Candace and Crystal, a state away. You know, I got to go out of state, and all we did was, they had very full schedules. Their parents, had them in synchronized swimming, and they had this lesson and that lesson. And so I would be riding in the car with them, doing their stuff with them, or I'd just be hanging out waiting for them to be done.
Yeah.
So their lives continued, their summer plans continued, but I was just the tag along. It was always really fun.
Yeah.
We always had a lot of fun together, but that didn't cost my family anything except to get me there.
Yeah.
And usually it was my grandmother who was going anyway to see family, so I would catch a ride with her.
Yeah.
That was something that, and families, it's about the people you spend the time with too. It's not necessarily about the attraction. It's wonderful to travel and see new places and get new perspectives, and that's beautiful. But if you can't do it, at least get away.
Yeah.
It can be about
Good
family
experience.
too. Just go stay with family.
A couple of summers, when I had the kids, we would do something different every day. That was day trips or whatever you call them.
Right.
We'd go somewhere, and it's like, today we're going hiking.
Yeah.
Or today we're going to go to this place and walk around, and we're going to eat, and y'all can pick what you want to eat. And we just did different things. If there's not one thing, pick a bunch of little ones. Go west, go east, go north, go south. There's something everywhere.
But go.
Yeah.
Don't use your vacation time to.
My little brother and I didn't go on summer vacations till I was probably about 12.
Yeah.
And my parents never took us on vacations, and I'm assuming it was because of a financial issue.
Yeah.
My aunt and uncle, who didn't have kids, they took us a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, when we were about 16 or 17, my parents, started taking us on vacation. Those are the ones, Murphy, where we had to hit a brewery every year.
Yeah, right.
Houston, Anheuser-Busch. St. Louis, Anheuser-Busch.
Your dad was on a mission.
Memphis, hey, we got Schlitz. All right.
Well, did you enjoy it, or were you just like, oh, Dad?
No,
what was that like for you?
No, I enjoyed it. Oh, the breweries?
Yeah.
To me, it was
It was educational.
I'm a nerdy kid. It was educational. I mean, I got to learn how beer was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you were excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to hurry up to the end of the tour where Dad got his free sample.
I see.
Aw,
But Dad, look how they make. No, I don't care. Let's get to the samples.
that's funny.
No, I'm just kidding. But
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
so I didn't even experience. I didn't know what a summer vacation was until I was 10 or 11 or 12.
Yeah. That's one reason why the vacation movies, they really do land, because it can be miserable too. There can be, we remember the highlights and you remember the good times but it doesn't mean it's good from start to finish.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was reading something about that the other day, and it was about the psychology of a vacation or an event, or the way that we remember events. That even if a vacation gets off to a very rough start and it's not everything you want it to be, people tend to, as years go by, recall, as long as it ends on a happy up note,
Yeah.
then the vacation itself has a happy memory tied to
Right,
it. Which makes perfect sense to me. I mean, it all turned out okay, I guess, in the end.
Like you bundle
But,
it. Like that's done and it was mostly good.
Yeah. And so I'm sure there are times, if I think back, I can remember one time, and I don't remember what my parents' solution was. I don't remember if the car got towed. I guess we got towed. Our car broke down on the way to the beach once. And somehow, for some reason, radiator fluid was actually leaking into the car, which was hot water on the floors and steaming the windows up. So it was not a good... We all had to, we had to stop and get out. But I was so young, I remember that happening, but I don't remember what we did afterwards. I'm sure my dad was probably really upset about that.
Oh, yeah.
But
you were a kid. It wasn't your problem
No.
to solve. That's why you don't remember the details
Right,
of that.
because we all crammed in the car. It was my parents up, front, and my sister up front with them, which probably wasn't right the way it was supposed to be done.
That was okay back then.
And me and my brother and my grandmother were in the back.
Yeah.
So
oh,
it
wow.
was
That's
6
tight.
of us in a car.
Just like family vacation.
Yeah, right. It's
that is
exactly
so tight.
So, but of all those years, I only remember that one breakdown. But any memory that I have of any vacation was great. And I'm sure there were issues and incidents. I'm sure there was family drama at some point.
Of course.
But I don't remember any of that. I remember
There have been times on vacation on the way home, I will never forget you and I getting into it. We had, a long day. You and I got into it. Yeah.
I don't remember
And Taylor
that.
and Phoebe were in the back.
Any specific topics?
I looked in the rear view at one point and they were looking at each other going, they were weighing in on what they thought. the real thing.
Well, see, I guess the happy memories are the ones that stick.
I mean, I kind of remember it, and then
Either that or I tuned you out. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll be home soon.
We don't remember those unless we're thinking about specific vacations.
Yeah.
One that I remember that did not go over well in the end. Like it's a story we didn't as kids bring up. My mom thought it was hilarious, but my dad did not. And if that's a dynamic where the parents aren't, gelling, if there's not harmony there, not to bring it up. We were on the way to somewhere, some little getaway, a weekend, and this would have been the early 80s, I guess. And my dad had on I've told you this story before, Murphy. He had on a red and white sort of checkered looking shirt, probably a Western type
like a tablecloth?
Shirt. And we sat down at a place to get something to eat, and his shirt matched the tablecloth identically. And my mom could not hold her laughter in. And he did not have a sense of humor about it. He was tired. He had been driving. And I guess, between the two of them, she picked at him a little bit about stuff like that. And he had a more serious way. And it was something, it's always something underlying that we didn't know was going on between them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is very true for adults when they don't share all that with the children as they shouldn't. But she could not stop laughing. And my brother was very, in tune with her, and he was laughing too. And I would never have laughed at my dad.
Wow.
So it was, I couldn't.
Glad I wasn't at that lunch, huh?
That's not something that I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to mention it years past. I think he got rid of that shirt. I wanted to mention it, but I knew not to bring it up because it was delicate.
It's interesting because, and I realize it's different because he passed away when you were very young.
16.
But, so if he were around today, I would think he would laugh about it.
Yes, now.
And it's interesting how that was a moment where you knew that something was off, but now it's a funny story. Time really does make a difference when it comes to that kind of stuff.
How was the rest of the trip?
I don't remember. I was so young. I don't remember that. I remember that story being told. My mom would tell that. Like, it was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
But he didn't think it was funny.
And so that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast here, that even if it doesn't have to be anything fancy, if it's family or you personally or whatever, you're going to come back with a memory. You're going to come back with something as long as you really get out of your complete environment that you're usually in. And that doesn't have to cost you anything but maybe the gas money to go down the street. Even if you're not going to eat somewhere, just go do something. You know what I mean? Soak it in and make the most of your staycation if that's what what you're doing.
Vacation being away from your normal routine. It doesn't matter. The destination doesn't matter as much as make sure it's away from your normal routine.
And the kids will always have some happy memory of something because something fun will happen no matter what you do. Yeah.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.